The court is quiet, and everyone is looking at the defendant. There is a lot of tension in the air, like a storm about to break. One secret could ruin everything, and tonight it will finally come out. Could one truth finally break this family up for good? Don't blink, you won't believe what happens next. The doors to the courtroom swing open, and the tension is almost unbearable. Kody sits at the defense table, nervously tapping his fingers on the polished wood. He looks at each of his wives as if he is looking for some unspoken support, some silent assurance that he can get through this nightmare. Christine's jaw is tight, and her hands are clasped so tightly that it looks like she's trying to crush the anxiety inside her. Every now and then she looks at the gallery, where whispers ripple through the crowd like an invisible current. This is not just a family matter, it has become a public spectacle. Meri sits still, her face a mask of calm that barely hides the fear in her eyes. Janelle, on the other hand, is fidgeting, moving around in her seat and nervously playing with the corner of a legal brief. Robyn, always calm, leans forward a little and stares at Kody with a look that mixes accusation and disbelief. The judge calls the meeting to order with a loud bang of his gavel, and the room goes quiet. The first witness is a family friend who knows a lot about the Brown family. When they get on the stand, everyone in the courtroom leans in and listens to every word. The witness talks about a string of late-night fights, whispered secrets, and times of betrayal that show how the family is falling apart from the inside. Kody's lips press together and his eyes narrow as memories he thought would stay hidden come to light in front of a crowd. Christine's eyes shine and a single tear is about to fall, but she swallows hard and doesn't let the court see how weak she is. You won't believe the shocking confession that's coming up next. It changes everything in ways that no one saw coming. As the witness goes on, she reveals that some of the wives had been secretly talking to each other and that there had been jealousy and resentment between them for years. The courtroom's harsh light now shows the cracks in their carefully built lives. When Robyn is called to testify, the tension rises. Her usually calm voice shakes a little as she talks about a fight with Kody that made her wonder where she fit in the family. With every word, the courtroom seems to lean closer, and every pause is full of unspoken questions. Who is telling the truth? Who is in charge? Who will be the first to give in? The judge leans forward and frowns as Robyn tells the story of a very tense meeting. He can clearly feel the emotional weight in the room. Kody's eyes flash with a mix of anger and regret, feelings he can't fully control. Next is Meri's testimony, which is quieter but just as powerful. It talks about times when she felt alone and scared, when she felt like no one could see or hear her, and her words carry the weight of years of silent pain. The gallery is silent, and the whispers have turned into a thick tension that makes the air feel heavy. Christine is next. Her voice is strong but full of pain as she talks about the times when alliances changed, loyalties were tested, and trust was broken. Her words are very clear, almost like surgery, but they hurt a lot. Kody's hand is gripping the table as if it could keep him stable. The next piece of information will shock even those who think they know this family inside and out. It completely changes the case. As the session goes on, the lawyers rise and fall like waves, and the audience gasps sharply as questions are asked. Cross-examinations turn into tense duels with eyes flashing and voices shaking as the pressure of telling the truth and protecting pride builds. A quick look between Janelle and Robyn suggests that they are on the same side, and the tension between Christine and Robyn is so strong that it feels like a war is going on in the courtroom instead of behind closed doors. The judge's gavel strikes again, signaling a short break. In the hallway, people whisper accusations, wipe away tears, and start to feel the weight of what has been revealed. The family members step back from the public eye for a moment, but the storm is far from over. Everyone knows that the next session could change everything, and that the secrets that have come to light so far are just the beginning. The cameras stay on Kody's face, which shows a mix of fear and determination, Robyn's watchful eyes, Christine's clenched fists, Meri's quiet pain, and Janelle's restless pacing, capturing the real-life drama that is happening right now. The lead attorney ends the session with a sharp, unanswered question that leaves everyone, family, audience, and viewers alike, wondering how much more can be revealed, how much more can be endured, and who will finally break under the weight of truth. Stay tuned, this courtroom drama is about to take a turn that will change everything you think you know. When the session starts up again, the courtroom feels colder, as if the walls have absorbed all the accusations from earlier and are now holding on to them, making it hard for anyone to breathe easily. Kody goes back to his seat, but something has changed. He is less confident now and more tense, which is clear in the way he avoids looking Christine in the eye. The judge doesn't waste any time calling the next witness. This time, it's a former insider who says they saw everything from the inside out. As soon as they step forward, a wave of unease spreads through the room, and even Robyn's calm face shows a hint of worry. The testimony starts out slowly, almost carefully, but then it gets sharper and more precise, revealing private conversations, money problems, and emotional wounds that were never meant to leave the family walls. The witness talks about a secret fight over money, with money being moved, decisions being made behind closed doors, and one wife allegedly being favored over the others in ways that made the others very angry. Meri looks down and presses her lips together tightly, as if she is holding back something she doesn't want to say out loud. Janelle's head lifts sharply and her eyes narrow. Kody suddenly leans forward and interrupts, his voice tense, saying that the story is being twisted and that the truth is much more complicated than what is being shown. The judge quickly tells him to be quiet and that it will be his turn soon. But what the witness says next doesn't just challenge Kody, it threatens to reveal a secret that no one was ready to hear. The courtroom seems to hold its breath as the witness goes on, now talking about a specific night when an argument got out of hand and accusations flew and lines were crossed that could never be uncrossed. The testimony said that it wasn't just about money or favoritism anymore, it was about betrayal on a very personal level, something that broke the family's fragile trust. Christine moves in her seat and her face hardens. Robyn's eyes shine with tears that she hasn't cried yet, and her composure slips as the story gets closer to something she clearly knows. The lawyer keeps pushing, asking direct, pointed questions that peel back another layer. Each answer makes the room even more tense. When the witness finally says that there were private agreements made that went against what was said in public, the whole courtroom starts to murmur and the noise gets louder until the judge's gavel brings it back down to silence. Kody's face turns red with anger, but there's something else there too. Fear, clear and growing. And just when it seems like the truth is finally coming out, a shocking contradiction comes up that makes everyone doubt what they've just heard. The defense quickly rises and begins a sharp cross-examination, questioning the witness's credibility, pointing out inconsistencies, and suggesting motives of revenge or misunderstanding. The witness hesitates for the first time, and their voice loses some of its earlier certainty. The balance in the courtroom starts to shift again, and where conviction once stood, uncertainty begins to creep in. Janelle looks at Christine, and they have a silent conversation. Meri finally looks up, and her eyes scan the room as if she sees everything in a new way. Then, out of nowhere, a piece of evidence is brought up. It's real, it's undeniable, and the story breaks apart again. The document, which was read aloud in a steady voice, has information that doesn't completely match what the witness said, which makes things more complicated and confusing for everyone involved. Robyn's reaction is quick. Her hand goes to her mouth and her eyes widen as if she just understood what was being said. Kody sits still, as if the ground beneath him has moved in ways he can't control. His anger has turned into a shocked stillness. You can sense it now. Something bigger is hiding under all of this, and the next revelation might finally bring it out into the open. The judge asks for order again, but the mood in the room has changed completely. It is now unstable and unpredictable, as if something could snap at any moment. The lawyers get back together, and their plans are clearly changing in real time. Meanwhile, the family members sit in a tense silence, each one thinking about a different version of the truth and wondering what will happen next. As the session comes to a close, one last question is asked. It's simple and direct, but it has a lot of meaning. The witness pauses for just long enough for everyone in the courtroom to lean forward in anticipation. When they finally answer, it doesn't solve anything. Instead, it opens up an even bigger mystery and suggests that the biggest secret of all hasn't been revealed yet. The judge ends the session, but no one moves right away, as if they're all waiting for something else to happen, something that will end things. But it doesn't come yet. As the cameras focus on the tense, worried faces of the family, one thing becomes painfully clear. This case is no longer just about what happened in the past, it's also about what is still being kept secret. And the next session might finally tell the truth that will change everything for good. It feels like a storm cloud is sitting low over the courtroom, pressing down on everyone inside. The third session starts with a tension that is so thick it seems like you can see it. No one talks as Kody walks back to his seat, but the silence speaks volumes. This isn't just a legal fight anymore, it's the slow breaking up of a family that thought it was unbreakable. This time, the judge's voice is sharper and more urgent when he calls the court to order. It's as if he knows that whatever happens next will be worse than anything that has already been said. The prosecution doesn't waste any time and calls Christine back to the stand. As soon as she stands up, everyone in the room looks at her. Her posture is different now, stronger and more sure, but there is still a storm behind her eyes. When she sits down, she doesn't look at Kody right away, but when she does, it's brief and enough to make the room tense. She starts talking calmly, telling stories that at first seem small, like quiet conversations, small changes in behavior, and the feeling that something wasn't right long before anyone said anything. But then her voice gets tense, and the story changes, going into darker territory, into the times when doubt turned into understanding. She talks about a night when everything changed. A conversation she wasn't supposed to hear revealed something that completely broke her trust. And just when you think you know where this is going, Christine says something that changes the whole case. The people in the courtroom lean in as she explains that the problem was never just about favoritism or emotional distance. It was about a secret decision that affected all of them, but was made without them. She said that plans were being made behind closed doors that some family members didn't know about. These plans included decisions about the family's future, money, and even where they would live. Janelle's face changes right away. Her brows furrow as she listens, clearly hearing parts of the truth she had only suspected before. Meri looks shocked, and for the first time, she loses her cool as Christine's words start to sink in. And Robyn doesn't move at all, but her stillness says more than any reaction. It's the stillness of someone who knows exactly what is being said. The prosecution pushes harder and asks Christine directly if she thinks those choices were made on purpose and if she thinks she was left out on purpose. For a moment, Christine hesitates, her eyes flashing with something deeper than anger, hurt, betrayal, something that has been building for years. Her voice is steady when she answers, but it has a quiet finality that fills the room. Yes, what she says next doesn't just accuse, it reveals a truth that no one in that room is ready to face. She says that this wasn't just a one-time thing, it was a pattern of choices that slowly pushed some wives away and raised others, making a divide that couldn't be ignored any longer. The defense quickly objects, trying to frame her testimony as emotional instead of factual, but it's too late, the seed of doubt has been planted, and it's growing quickly. Kody shifts around uncomfortably, and his usual confidence is gone. Instead, he looks like he's under a lot of stress that he can't hide anymore. As the defense starts their cross-examination, the tone changes again. It gets more aggressive and pointed as they try to tear apart Christine's claims by questioning her motives, memory, and interpretation of events. For a second, it looks like the stress might break her, like the weight of everything might finally be too much. But instead, she leans forward a little. Her voice is quieter now, but stronger than ever, and she starts to answer each question clearly, with detail, and with a calmness that makes it clear that she is not just emotional. Meri's eyes fill with tears that she doesn't try to hide anymore, and Janelle watches closely, her face unreadable. And just when it seems like Christine has said everything, one last thing leaves everyone in the courtroom speechless. She says that she has proof, not just memories or feelings, but something real that could back up everything she's been saying. The room fills with whispers again, this time louder and more urgent, because the chance of proof changes everything. The judge asks for order, but even he seems nervous now that he knows the case has taken a turn that can't be undone. Kody reacts right away with a flash of panic that he quickly tries to hide, but it's too late. It's been seen. Robyn finally moves, and her calmness breaks just enough to show the fear underneath. Janelle leans back slowly, as if she's trying to understand a reality that is changing in real time. The session is about to end, but no one is thinking about leaving now that something so big is in the air. The prosecution hints that this evidence will be shown in the next session, but they don't say what it is. This leaves a question mark that feels heavier than any answer could. The tension doesn't go away when the judge leaves. It stays with everyone in the room as they stand, move, and try to figure out what just happened. And as the camera stays on Christine's face, which is determined and unshaken, one thing becomes clear. What she's holding back isn't just important, it's explosive. In the next session, the truth will not only be told, but it will also be proven, and nothing will ever be the same again. The fourth session starts with a feeling of dread that is so strong that it seems like the air itself has thickened in the courtroom. Kody sits stiffly at the defense table, his hands gripping the edge so tightly that his knuckles turn white. Every so often, he looks over at Robyn, looking for a sign of support or reassurance that everything is still under control. The judge's gavel strikes, loud and clear, and the room goes quiet again, as if the sound itself can stop the storm of feelings that are building up inside. The next witness is called, and people have been looking forward to and dreading their testimony. This person is a close friend of Kody's who has seen the family dynamics from the inside and knows where all the secrets are. The tension rises right away when they take the stand. Every rustle and breath seems louder in the quiet, making the suspense that hangs in the room like an invisible weight even stronger. The witness starts off carefully, their voice calm but with an undercurrent of tension. They talk about a night that had been publicly dismissed as a minor argument but was actually much more important, an argument that showed deep rifts between the wives, moments of betrayal, and decisions that would have long-lasting effects. Christine's eyes narrow and she leans forward a little. Every word hits her like a hammer, revealing cracks she thought would never be revealed. Meri looks down, her hands folded tightly in her lap, and she shakes a little as the details are revealed. Janelle, on the other hand, shifts uncomfortably in her seat, her mind racing with memories of things she had tried to forget. Robyn sits still, her usually calm face tense, as the witness talks about times when Kody made decisions behind closed doors that not everyone agreed with. These decisions have caused a feeling of resentment that is now threatening to come out in the courtroom. And just when it seems like the witness has told the whole truth, a shocking new piece of information comes to light that could change the whole case. The revelation comes in the form of a hidden message or letter that goes against what was said before, showing lies, manipulation, and a web of secrets that no one expected to find. Everyone in the courtroom leans forward as the weight of the news hits them all. Kody's jaw tightens, and he grips the edge of the table to keep himself steady as the meaning of what he just heard sinks in. Christine's eyes shine with a mix of happiness and sadness, and her voice is steady but full of quiet anger as she waits to see how this will change the balance. The lawyers rush around, their questions getting sharper and more precise as they try to find any sign of inaccuracy in the witness's testimony. The evidence seems to be clear, and the tension rises with each passing moment. Janelle whispers something to Meri that most people in the courtroom can't hear, but it's enough to suggest alliances, loyalties, and problems within the family that even the judge can't ignore. The witness goes on to talk about secret meetings, quiet conversations, and private confrontations that change the course of the family. Each new piece of information feels like a blow, making the case even more complicated than it already is. Robyn finally speaks, her voice calm but firm. She tells her own story and backs up parts of the testimony, adding emotional weight that can't be ignored. Kody's face gets even tighter, and for a brief moment, the normally calm man shows a crack, a flash of fear, doubt, and the realization that the walls he thought were solid are starting to fall down. Just when the courtroom thinks it knows the truth, another shocking piece of information comes out that makes everyone rethink what they thought they knew about love, loyalty, and betrayal. A new document comes out that goes against what was said before and shows secret relationships between the wives, as well as choices that were made to protect some and leave others out. The room reacts almost as a whole, whispers turn into murmurs, some people gasp, and the air is thick with tension. The judge tells everyone to be quiet, but the energy in the room is so strong that it feels like it can't be contained. Christine stands up to speak again. Her words are careful, measured, and sharp as she talks about how these secrets affected not only the family's interactions, but also the legal battle going on in front of them. She stops and looks at Kody, Robyn, Janelle, and Meri as if daring each of them to look her in the eye and face the truth that has finally come out. Kody has a hard time answering. His voice is caught between defense and desperation. But the courtroom isn't ready to listen. It's holding its breath, waiting for the next piece of truth to fall into place. And the most devastating news is about to come out, threatening to break the delicate balance and affect everyone. The session goes on with heated arguments, probing questions, and emotional testimonies, all of which are meant to draw the audience deeper into the drama as it unfolds. By the time the gavel finally calls the court to a break, everyone in the room, family, lawyers, and audience, has been caught up in a storm of feelings, secrets, and tensions that won't be easy to settle. The faces show signs of tiredness, relief, and a lingering fear of what will happen next. Even though the court has adjourned, everyone knows that the next session will bring bigger, more shocking, and possibly life-changing truths that will change everything the family thought they knew about each other. Stay on your toes. The next session will test loyalties, make people angry, and start to reveal the real story in ways that no one expects. The fifth session starts with a lot of excitement. Every creak of the courtroom floor sounds like a drumbeat announcing what is about to happen, and it feels like the walls are holding their breath for what is about to happen. Kody is sitting at the defense table. His hands are no longer clenched, but they are shaking a little, which shows that he has been calm during the last few sessions. Christine leans forward, her eyes sharp and steady, ready to speak again. She knows that every word she says could change the course of this family fight. Meri, who is quieter than ever, sits with her hands folded in her lap and looks down as if she is getting ready for the next wave of news. Janelle moves around in her seat, anxious, the weight of waiting making her fidget and look at Robyn over and over again. Robyn's face stays neutral, but her fingers drum lightly on the table, showing that she is tense but can't fully hide it. The judge calls the court to order, and the session starts with a look back at what has already happened in the courtroom, including the most important points of the arguments and the times that have already shaken the courtroom to its core. The prosecution doesn't waste any time. They present evidence that has been kept secret, including documents, photos, and messages that back up some of the most shocking claims made in earlier sessions. As these pieces of evidence are shown one by one, the tension in the courtroom rises. Each new piece of information hits like a thunderclap. Kody's face tightens, his jaw stiffens, and for a moment, even his calm demeanor falters. A hint of panic flashes across his face as the evidence goes against some of the things he said before. And just when it seems like the storm has reached its peak, something big happens that could destroy everything Kody thought he had under control. Christine steps forward and talks about times when the wives' alliances changed, when whispers behind closed doors turned into open actions, and when trust was not only broken, but also used in ways that few people outside the family could understand. Janelle's eyes widen and she gasps a little, while Meri's hands clench into fists as she realizes how much she has been betrayed. Robyn's lips press together and her normally calm eyes dart to Kody, silently asking him why he did what he did, which now seems impossible to defend. The lawyers are having a tense back and forth, with questions cutting deep and answers coming in short, emotional bursts, as if the room itself is holding on to every word, waiting for the next piece of information. The prosecution plays a recording that shows private conversations about manipulation, secret deals, and fights that were meant to stay hidden. When the audio plays, everyone in the courtroom reacts together, feeling the weight of reality. Kody flinches, Christine's eyes shine with tears that she is holding back, Meri shakes a little, and Janelle leans forward, taking in every detail of what is being said. And as soon as the recording ends, a silence so thick it feels like it could suffocate everyone falls over the courtroom, making everyone on edge, waiting for the next shocking piece of information that will shake the family's very foundation. The session goes on with emotional testimonies, with each wife taking a moment to talk about personal experiences, times when they were vulnerable, heartbroken, or betrayed that the audience hasn't fully seen yet. Robyn's voice breaks a little as she talks about a fight that made her question her place in the family. Christine then gives testimony that is both clear and very personal, showing how living in a house full of secrets and unspoken resentments has affected her emotionally. Janelle talks about long-term tensions and the slow buildup of conflict that had been going on for years. Meri's testimony, on the other hand, shows the quiet pain of feeling ignored and unheard. The lawyers press, cross-examine, and probe, each question meant to cast doubt on memories, motivations, and credibility. Still, the emotional weight is clear and the effect is immediate. The judge pays close attention, sometimes leaning forward and narrowing his eyes, knowing that the stakes are higher than what any courtroom procedure might suggest. And just when it looks like the session might calm down for a while, a final twist comes out. A hidden letter, a secret message, or a revelation so shocking that it threatens to change everything everyone thought they knew, leaving the family and the courtroom speechless. The document talks about broken promises, uncovered manipulations, and alliances that were made and broken in secret, confirming suspicions and raising new questions that need to be answered in the next session. Kody's face quickly changes from defensive to shocked, Robyn's face shows quiet determination, Janelle's eyes show a mix of fear and disbelief, Meri's lips tremble as she silently processes the confirmation of what she had suspected all along, and Christine stays calm, a source of clarity in the midst of the chaos. The session ends, but the tension doesn't go away. It stays, hanging over the courtroom, the family, and everyone else who was there. Cameras catch the lingering looks, the whispered words in hallways, and the air of uncertainty that now hangs over everything, making everyone, including family members, aware that things will never be the same. The next session will bring more surprises, more fights, and maybe even a solution that no one really expects. But one thing is for sure, the family's secrets are no longer hidden, and the truth is about to come out in ways that will leave everyone breathless.